Hey everybody, Berg Ryman. That's right, still in the shirt, still in the basement. Still talking Wilson Challenge. And much expected, much requested from yours truly. Let's talk Staff Model ZM Groove Wedges. And let's start with talking my baby, the 64 degree. That's right, the spatula is here. It is in Fulton, New York. It is in the basement. It is in my hand. Is it going in the bag alongside its slightly stouter brother, the 59 degree, which is really a 58 bent to 59, but could very well be bent back to 58. First things first, a big shout out to Wilson for hooking us up. A big shout out to all of you that followed along in the thread. And of course, the biggest shout out to both my teammates and competitors in the Wilson Challenge for a very fun start of the golf season. All right, let's talk the ZM. They are great. I think everyone in the thread basically said the wedges are basically the shock of this test. For me, they were not a shock. I have been a Wilson Staff wedge player in the past for about the last 5 to 6 years, I think. There was a period of time in which the FG Tour wedges were in my bag. Currently, the bag that I had before the Wilson has a tour grind version of the Staff Model wedge in 60 degrees, so the model that came just before this one. And of course, for this test, the ZM Grooves and the full face ZM Groove option in the 64. The wedges look fantastic, right? The simple shield on the back is really good badging. They just look very professional. They sit down by the ball in a way that I really enjoy. It's a little bit more rounded on the sole than some other wedges, but again, that I really like that from a looks standpoint. And they're just great. They both came with the DG Spinner wedge shaft, which is a shaft that I've used in wedges basically for the past 4 to 6 years. It's one I very much like. It's one that for me is someone that is a little bit low launch, low spin, does help that launch profile and really achieves it. Let's talk performance though. So they spin the hell out of the ball. And it doesn't matter what kind of ball you use, they will spin them. One of the memorable shots in this test came from Myrtle Beach's second round at Willbrook Plantation. I was playing alongside Bill P, Easy Putter, and Shankopotamus, and I hit I want to say about a 50-yard bunker shot with the 59. It hit on the front of the green and spun completely off, probably 10 to 15 yards off the front of the green from there. They spin. I mean, they do exactly what they say on the tin. I'm not sure how aggressive the actual groove degrees are, but for a club that doesn't really talk much about what it's doing to enhance the spin, they're so good. But they're also consistent, right? They are so similar in shot that it's very easy to kind of hit that low flighted one that takes a couple hops and stops. Obviously, because I'm playing the 64, I love a good flop shot, and I hit a lot of them. Even in positions where they didn't make a lot of sense to hit them, just because it's so damn fun to hit that 64 degree wedge. I've had a 64 degree wedge in the bag before. As I've said throughout this test, this 64 degree wedge really makes it so I'm hoping to keep it in the bag. Now, you'll hear me say hope, right? And the only reason these are going straight in the bag, and by these I mean both of them. Both of them are incredible wedges. The only thing keeping me from putting them right in the bag right now is that my iron setup doesn't really facilitate them as far as gapping goes. Now, I am potentially looking at building out a new set of irons, which I do think will allow that to happen, in which I would go in non-set wedges, 52, 58, 64 with 6-degree gaps between the two of them. We'd bend the 59 back to 58. Obviously keep the 64 and then just add a 52. Probably in the ZMs because they're also under what most premium wedges are. At $150, you're getting such a good bargain, right? I mean, you're getting a club which performs incredibly. I'm not sure if you've all seen the new Raw ones. If you are a Raw wedge guy, they look great. They're so simple in the badging with just the unmarked shield on the back of them. Personally, I'm iffy on them. I'm not really much of a Raw wedge guy. But the 52 in the ZM is very much top of the list to be the 52 that comes in this bag. Wilson makes great wedges. And I know they don't test well in the My Golf Spy stuff. I don't understand that one. I think there's a lot of stuff that doesn't test well that I think a lot of us that actually get the chance to hit them really, really like. And I think these ZM wedges are one such thing. They are so good. If you can get your hands on them. And it is tricky, obviously. Wilson, not the most available brands in some locations, as we've discussed. But if you can hit them, you gotta. I mean, you just have to put them in your testing, in your fitting. You need to hit these wedges. Do they have all the grinds of Vokey? No. Do they have all the bounce options? No. Do they have options that work? Yes. They have a very simple matrix as far as grinds and bounce options go. They have kind of their standard bounce options throughout the entirety of the sets. They do have low bounce options. For example, my 58 is a 6-degree bounce with a little bit of a heel toe grind, more of that tour style that I think their tour players look for. The high toe options come in 56, 60, and 64 with more of kind of a C grind to it and 10 degrees of bounce. So they aren't overly penal and pretty universally usable regardless of turf condition. And then they have larger bounce 56s, 58s, and 60s, and then just sort of kind of a middle, kind of like a middle ground where they'll offer it in 12, they'll offer it in 10, they'll offer it in 8, 6. So there are options there. Is it as advanced or as numerous as a lot of the other kind of major companies you think of when you think of wedges? No. But do I think that Wilson needs them to be? Also no. They've made some really functional grind wedges that work for a lot of people in a lot of different turf conditions, myself included. And I think that these Wilson wedges, again, depending on the way that the bag development fills out, which I said is going to be a hopeful 52, 58, 64, these ZM Groove staff models are finding their way in the bag if that ends up being the way the iron set breaks out, because they're so fun, they're so easy to hit, and they're just so consistent and spinny that I just can't get away from a Wilson wedge. I think if you get a chance to try them, you'll be really impressed too. And I hope you all do get that opportunity.